The beginning of critical thinking. I thought this image was suitable. It says play, learn, and grow together. In kindergarten, we do a lot of things together. We think together a lot and go through those critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills are important to the cognitive development of children. The introduction of these skills can begin as early as preschool and kindergarten. We do a lot of critical thinking with stories that we've introduced, with letters we've introduced. We even do think, pair, share. We ask the questions who, what, when, where, why, how much when we do share time. So all the time we are asking questions and asking them to think at a higher level instead of a yes or no answer. It is important that the skills of analyzing, comparing, and synthesizing be developed at an early age so students can apply them to the appropriate situation, whether in academic or personal life. By engaging your kindergarten students in seemingly simple analytical activities such as comparing and contrasting objects and story character role reversals, you will be strengthening their evaluative abilities. In this cartoon, it's comparing and contrasting. Who are they different? What is the same about them? Introduce the skill and explain it. Critical thinking skills are taught in isolation in kindergarten so that students can learn when and how to apply them. So what I am going to do, I am going to be introducing a story with you. It's called Goodnight Gorilla. It is a short story. I'm just going to start it for you. It goes over, they'll watch it, we'll read it together, we'll discuss it, and it's a really cute story. You want to keep your students engaged in activities which require them to classify objects by comparing and contrasting. So we would watch this little story on Goodnight Gorilla, and then I would model it for them. I would show them how the thinking process is used. Don't hesitate to use the exact terminology when you're talking about comparing and contrast. 5-year-olds have an amazing capacity for understanding complex language. In this Venn diagram, you want to illustrate it by completing a Venn diagram about the story that everyone is familiar with. You're going to write down the similarities and differences in this case between the gorilla and the zookeeper. While you're doing that, you're talking to yourself about what you're writing, showing the students how you're thinking as you are writing. This think aloud procedure helps children to increase their metacognition. Apply the skill that you're teaching, which we're teaching in this case, comparing and contrasting. The purpose of teaching critical thinking skill is to be able to apply this skill. This is a cute little website. It has
Welcome to Storyline Online, brought to you by the Screen Actors Guild Foundation.
I'm
Betty White, and
Betty White reads a story to them, and as we're reading, I can stop it and pause it, and we can talk about informally have them draw the children into a conversation, giving them a chance to comment on your comparisons and have them even make some of their own of the story that Betty White is reading with them. It shouldn't take many times of the teacher modeling the skill for the class to know how to do it themselves. When asking the questions while modeling, avoid asking your students yes or no questions. You want to ask them questions that they have to think about and give you a one or two answer or two sentence to. Encourage them discussing the points of view of all the characters of the story, regardless of whether the character is designated hero or villain. You want to talk about not only the feelings of the hero, but how do you think the villain is feeling. And not, do you think the hero is happy? Yes or no. That's not really having them think a whole lot. You want them to think and give you answers of what they think. Discuss the ways in which the story might have unfolded differently if the characters involved had thought or behaved differently, and have your students come up with an alternative ending, which this is really neat, to hear how they think the story would have ended, giving them a story that's open-ended. It's really neat to hear how their thought process is, and making them more confident with that process. When a student can easily write about what they've learned, you know that they have mastered the skill. For example, after you've modeled and the class practice compare and contrast, you can have them write a few sentences about how it has helped them. Since we're working with kindergartners, you won't depend on spelling and grammar. Instead, you're going to look for content. If they write something like, I know how to tell how things are alike and how they are different, you have succeeded. If everyone looks confused and unsure of what to write, then you know that you need to continue teaching this skill. These are the resources that I used in this presentation. Just remember that when teaching kindergarten, you want to teach the skills in isolation. Use your terminology and vocabulary so they can start hearing it now, so that when they get into upper grades, and just have them answer open-ended questions and not yes or no questions.